people who have had previous Super Bowl plans. So we'll be mindful of that. We'll record it and we'll send this out to our membership list at least, and maybe a little bit beyond. So, on our agenda today is I just want to kind of walk you through who our board members are. Some of them are here today, so I'll ask them to come down to the front and we'll walk through that. I know that Mike Daniker had to go to a Super Bowl game, or a Super Bowl watch party anyway. I think if he was going to the Super Bowl game, he would have left this morning or earlier yesterday or last week, something like that. So, so we'll do a 2023 in review. And then we're going to talk about financials a little bit. We'll talk about how we have done last year in 2023 and some of the plans for what we want to do financially in 2024, also out into the future beyond that. So we'll talk about a 5-year plan. We have Adopt a Project from Barbara Bruner. This is a new project that we have that we're taking up all the different pieces of our beautiful building and grounds, and we're just looking at them and going, what can we do as a community to beautify them, make them even better than they are, make them more rentable maybe in certain ways, because renting the building is a big part of our financial plan. And we'll also be looking for it to be a more pleasant, more peaceful, more loving place for ourselves also at the same time. And then Patricia's going to talk about if you're a member. It's one of the benefits of being a member is all of our members got a practitioner session for free. And so that was mailed to your house in the beginning of January, but we'll talk about it some more towards the end. And then we have Q&A. Okay. So Harris, let's go to the next slide. And if you could put the wider frame one so they can stand at the bottom. Would that work, Harris? Okay. So I'd like to go ahead and ask the Board of Trustees who are here. I saw Mary earlier. I see Deborah and Patricia and Jackie. Maybe Mary had to leave. I don't know. Here, let me give you the microphone. Just say hi.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Owens, and I'm the current president of the board.
Patricia Roach, and I'm secretary.
Deborah Glick, and I'm treasurer.
So I want to say a personal note of thank you for all of our board members. I know how much effort, goes into the position. It's not like it's a huge amount of time, but it is, you have to focus, right? There's a certain amount of focus to this kind of job. Our board members are part of our team here at Ahiah, our board, our practitioners, our ministers, the people on our teams that really hold the consciousness for Ahiah. And so, thank you for all that you guys do. Oh, and of course, I'm also on the board as the senior minister. And the year that is next to their name is the year that they're coming off the board. So you can see that right now we have Jackie, who's the president, Deborah, who's the treasurer, and Patricia Roach, who is the secretary, all listed as 2024. One of the things that we'll be doing at the annual meeting is we're going to ask you to extend Patricia's time on the board for another year. She's only been on the board for less than, maybe like 6 months or something. And that's the reason that she's in 2024 slot is because the person she replaced was supposed to be off in 2024. So we're going to ask to extend to 2025 for her. We have Mary Eubanks, who's going to come off at 2025, and Mike Daniker in 2026, and he's our vice president. And of course, the senior minister, according to the bylaws, is always on the board. So I won't be coming off anytime soon as the senior minister. So if we can go to the next slide, Harris. All right, so 2023 in review. I want to talk about this kind of briefly because we'll go into a little more detail at the annual meeting. But I wanted to use this time to basically say thank you to a few people. You know, we've had 52 really wonderful Sunday celebrations in 2023. And, you know, there's a whole lot of people that are involved with that make that happen, that really put their heart into it. For this, I want to say thank you to our music team. We've got Chris here as our music director. I mean, just today, we had fabulous music here today. It was really, really spectacular. And a lot of that has to do with Chris's leadership and picking the musicians and working with the musicians. But it's also the time and the talent that the musicians bring also. And so, you know, we have Leon on the bass, Brian on the drums. We have some regular singers. We have Tina Meeks on the first Sunday. We have Connie on the second. She oftentimes brings Karen Golan, like today. We have Elizabeth, who is also a member at Ahiah, and so she's scheduled on the third Sunday, but she's often here, and she helps us with our congregationals, and I want to say thank you for that. And then we have a variety of singers beyond that we kind of rotate in on the fourth and the fifth Sunday, and I think they all do a fabulous job. Another person that is so fundamental to this center is Reverend Mike. And Rev, I hope you're on the screen somewhere, but I can't see who's on there. But thank you so much for saying yes to being the associate minister. We did that this last year. And what being the associate minister means is that he's the guy. You know, if something were to happen to me, whether I was hit by a bus or ended up in a hospital or whatever, Reverend Mike would be the one that comes in as the interim minister. If I leave, then Reverend Mike is kind of first in line, but the congregation has to make a final yes on that. So, but you know, Reverend Mike has been here for 25 years now, 25 years. And he's poured his heart and his soul into this place. He's grown with this place. You know, he came as a congregant, he became a practitioner, he went off to ministerial school, he became our assistant minister under Reverend Rose, and now he's our associate minister. And so, you know, I can't say enough about Reverend Mike. We had many workshops in 2023. You know, too many to really mention by name. We've pretty much had a workshop every Sunday this last year. And except for December, we kind of took a break in December. But we're planning on doing the same thing in 2024. And in fact, the calendar's already booked through I think through March and into April now. So so we're you know, we're planning things out, we're getting it on the calendar, we're doing all sorts of wonderful things, from, you know, Sky is a beautiful example of the energy work. I know that she's got a following here at Ahiah. They, you know, you guys and I love Sky and love working with her and taking her classes. And you know, last week we had a beautiful visioning workshop led by our staff minister, Reverend Jane Midgley, who is off in Albuquerque, right? So she's staff minister kind of virtual, but she was able to be here last week. And so I want to say thank you to her for being a part of our ministry team also. And then, you know, one of the comments I get from people who are new to Ahiah, that come in from outside as a visitor and start looking around, as they go, wow, you guys have a lot of stuff going on here, right? And that's a great thing, because when somebody is new, You want to be able to hook them into the community by having things that they would enjoy, having things that they get to meet people. We have always, because of Reverend Mike and Alpha Jerry, had Tuesday and Wednesday, but the book study and the healing service, that I can tell anybody to kind of go into that as a new way. But having things on Sunday when they're here is also really important. We taught 7 classes last year, things from Metaphysical Bible, Foundations, Beyond Limits, and some other classes. I did an Enneagram workshop. I did a class on tattoos on the heart. I know we did, I'm going to miss one of them at least. I think we did self-mastery there's at least one more in there. But I appreciate so much everything that the practitioners have done to help me with doing the classes. Patricia, in fact, did Prac 1 last year in a very quick run. She started in January and finished in August. So, they normally have a little bit more time to do that. So it was wonderful. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has supported our different activities. Nancy Johnson is here. Where is Nancy Johnson? She had to leave. Okay. So, she'll tune into the recording. Nancy, thank you. Nancy does so much with our outreach program, in particular, everything with Friends Indeed. And then we've had the fundraising team that has worked diligently to help us. And I want to say really a big thank you to Nancy Williams for that. Nancy Williams has been a phenomenal presence, helping our teens get funded to go to our teen camps in particular. And so thank you to that. And we'll go into more detail at the annual meeting. We also have had a wonderful year in 2023 around our youth program. We call it We Thrive at Ahiah. And that's because our teens and our kids, they thrive here. They thrive, they make friends, they learn things that they can use in order to get through those really tough times. Teenage years in America have become really, really difficult. And it's that work that we do here that gives them the tools that they can use to help, navigate those rocky times sometimes. We sent 5 kids or 8 kids to winter camp last year, 5 kids to summer camp. And so that money that, seems like we're always doing a little bit of fundraising. We try and make it with things that you want anyway, right? You want to have some cookies after service. You want to do something at Valentine's Day, whatever it is. These are wonderful little events. And if you weren't here for service, let's just say together, bingo. 1, 2, 3, bingo, right? We are having bingo on Saturday, and that we're hoping to raise somewhere around $3,000, as much as $5,000 or beyond. I have learned to just say yes to the universe. So I'll take as much as the universe wants to throw at me, because it is for a really, really good cause. It is to send our teens to school, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then our annual meeting. Last year we elected Michael Danaker as a board member. And our next annual meeting, the one for this year, is coming up. We have it tentatively scheduled for April 7th. There's no Super Bowl on April 7th, right? I'm just checking. No really big basketball. No, it's not basketball season. So no other games or anything, World Cup or nothing like that. If there is, let me know now. So anyway, April 7th is the day we're thinking about. So Ahiah, let's go to the next slide. we are doing Mardi Gras bingo right here, Saturday. Annette, you want to stand up? Yeah, oh, in the purple and everything, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So Annette, Annette came to me a year ago, I think it was, Annette, wasn't it? It was about a year ago, and said, that the VFW out of La Crescenta? Yeah. So the VFW out of La Crescenta, they do this thing where they go around for youth only. That's the only thing that they do these bingos for, is they go around to places that are supporting youth in one way or another, and they will help you to do a bingo game, right? And they help. You'll see VFW people here on Saturday. They call the number, or they don't call the numbers, but they put up the numbers on the screen and everything. They've been so generous with their time in helping us to know how to do this legally as well as professionally. So we've had a great time working with Lynn and everything at the VFW, and we've got a great bingo planned. Not only are we going to do bingo, where we have $1,400, I believe it is, in cash prizes to give away through bingo contests, but we also are going to have an art auction, but it's a silent auction. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. It's a silent auction, and so we'll be doing that, and the proceeds are going to come to our youth program also. Got a little bit of cookie. I think. Can somebody give me a little bit of water? Yeah, I think Elizabeth's going. Wow, there we go. So bingo, though, 6 days from now. And we want to have a good time at our bingo game. We are looking for volunteers. Annette would love for you to volunteer. And it's not onerous. There's things scheduled for different times, so you can spend an hour, volunteering. We would love for that. Or you can be a volunteer during the whole time. Thank you, Elizabeth. That'll teach me for eating a cookie before a meeting, right? So, so anyway, whatever that is that you want to do, I'm sure whether it's an hour or more, we would love to get your help with that. Okay. And let's go to the next slide. Is there any questions from anybody either here or online around all of that? I know it's mostly about the past and all, but it also kind of points to the future. So I want to be kind of clear on it. Mm-hmm. Let me give you the mic so the people at home can hear.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie Pinn. So with the board members, since Michael is the vice president, does he automatically accede to the presidency?
No. The way it works, can you guys hear me from this one? Okay. The way it works is that people get on the board, and then at the first meeting of the new board, they choose their positions. Oh. Right? So, yeah.
And what is there was something at large?
Oh, the member at large, we have to fill the normal spots, which are president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And then the last spot is just kind of open. They're not any of those official positions, but they're still a standard member of the board. Oftentimes, the at-large position is asked to be in charge of membership connection, right? Connecting into the members. Okay. If you actually would be okay with being my runner, would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. So we now have two Jackies at Ahiah, two members that are Jackie Penn and Jackie Owens. So, all right. Oh, yeah, and a Myrna and a Myrna. Yes, exactly. And two Scots. My goodness, we're growing. You know, we're up to 70 as soon as we get Myrna approved by the board, because she's a new practitioner. We'll be at 71 members. And so, you know, we've been growing our membership, and, you know, it all is pointing in a positive direction. So, yes, 2023 financials, you know, we have the usual profit and loss statement that any company has. And so I want to let you know kind of where we are. And then Deborah is going to come up and tell us, you know, and I'll also tell you some of the things that we've already done to reduce costs in ways that it doesn't impact the services in general. And somewhere we're just tightening a little bit anyway, you know. So we'll talk about that. And then Deborah is going to come up and she's going to talk about kind of what our plan is for growing the income. And she's going to talk about our investments and our endowment program. And then we've got Gloria, who is on our finance committee. By the way, we have a finance committee. And if you're interested in being on the finance committee, please see our treasurer, Deborah Glick. And we'd love to talk to you about being on that committee. And you don't have to be a member. Well, we would like you to be a member, but you don't have to be a member for a long time, right? So, there's not a lot of those types of requirements for the finance committee, but we would like you to understand money. So, the financials for last year, our income came out at $208,999, so almost $209,000 of income. We have redone a little bit of our reporting method. So we took out some of the stuff where the money was just coming in and going back out. Things like money that goes to Friends Indeed, we don't count that in our regular income anymore. And so we had non-recurring income of $28,500 for this last year. Now that's important to notice, because $27,000 of that, and we had to pay a company just shy of $2,000 in order to do the forms and everything turn into the IRS, are from what was called the ERC underneath the Federal Recovery, you know, COVID Recovery Act or whatever they called it. But you remember those days when the government threw some money at us to help us out. Well, unfortunately, they're not doing that anymore, and that's why it's under non-recurring income, because we don't expect to get that again. So the majority of the money is that. That means that I don't expect to get that income next year, right? And that's one of the reasons why we're looking at our financial picture this year is pretty good. Since I came here, the first year I was here, so this is, you know, I've been here for 5.5 years. The first year I was here, we lost between $110,000 and $120,000. And I just went, whoa, because I came in August and I was like, okay, we got to do something about that. So we've been working on this for a long time. And so coming down to $20,000 in losses from $120,000 in losses in a year is a phenomenal story. We are looking at reducing our expenses any way that we can in ways that make sense. So, for instance, you know, some of the ways that we've reduced our expenses are we've gotten rid of $200 a month recently by changing from microwave internet, which was $250 a month, to 5G cellular, now that it's available here in Pasadena, at $50 a month, right? So you can't tell the difference, right? Well, it did take me a little while. So Reverend Mike and I were pulling our hair out. Well, maybe he was pulling his hair out, but we were pulling our hair out to get the settings and all correct, you know, but now it's working seamlessly. It works great. And, you know, but other than that, you couldn't tell the difference in the service. In fact, it was as good, if not even a little bit better, as far as speed goes. And then there are other things, like we had a copier that was costing us $500 a month. And we were somebody's out there looking at me like, what? $500 for a copier? Well, that's exactly the response I had when I first looked at the books and saw that. But we were in a 5-year lease. Well, we got out of the 5-year lease last year, and we went to a new copier that is ink. It actually looks better than the LaserJet, so the quality is actually higher than we had, and and it's $200 to $250 less a month also. So, you know, these are the types of savings. I'll give you a nice long list of all the other things that we've been doing, but these are the things that your board and I have been working on in order to keep the expenses at a place where we can afford it. You know, so we have giving income of $130,000. That's good. That's up. My first year here was, I think it was 86,000 for the general. It was a little higher, but we've definitely improved on the giving. The rental income is the highest since I've been here, and we are aggressively going out to get more rentals in here. The parking lot, if you're here on a Monday through Friday, is full. We have every one of the tandems slots rented. We have the 2 by the white gate that are rented 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are people from the apartments, and you know, that the last one that I rented, I probably wouldn't have rented except for they have 2 really little kids, you know, like 3 and a toddler, you know, somewhere in there. So anyway, I couldn't say no, because otherwise the thought was, you know, in the rain, how does mom get her kids into the house, you know? So anyway, we're doing phenomenal with rentals, events. These are things, events are stuff for us. So there are things like Cinco de Mayo, Juneteenth, the pledge drive is in there. We don't collect money directly for the pledge drive, though. So it's not, we don't have any money showing up in the income. We do in the expenses on the other side. And then the fundraising committee. Annette, would you stand up, please? I'm having you pop up and down here, but Annette is our chairwoman for the fundraising team. And it's also taken on the events also. And I just want to say thank you to Annette. She's doing a fabulous job. And she runs bingo like you wouldn't believe. You know, it is just regimented and going. So that's great. And then we have other income that comes in at $10,000. So real quickly through the expenses. Minister's expense is $56,000. My part of that is $48,200. The rest of it goes to Reverend Mike and also to some of our guest speakers. We pay them $200 when they do a guest speaking. Our admin salaries, these are salaries for Harris and for Marcia, are at $28,570 for last year. And one of the places that we are reducing, we had increased last year Marcia's time from 5 hours to 10 hours, but we're reducing it back. Just, you know, we had Brenda here for a couple of years doing the 5 hours. Marcia's done some work on getting things organized and everything, because Brenda left while I went on vacation. So it was a little bit difficult to to manage that transition. And so Marcia's come in and she's put some order to our process. And thank you, Marcia, for that. Our youth and family ministry, 23,000. So this includes sending the kids to camp, which we raise money for, but we spend about $1,000 a month just in the standard cost of doing the youth and family ministry. And you guys all see our kids up front here. You know, it's fabulous. The money that we're spending is well used. Facilities, yes, we own the building. We own the building, right? It still costs us almost $32,000 a year to run the building. So, you know, just imagine if we were paying somebody else for this building, it would be a whole lot more. We could not afford a building like this if we didn't already own it. That is definitely true. But it's upon us to maintain this building. You know, one of the reasons why we had to leave the previous building is the previous building wasn't maintained well enough. And so I think this congregation has learned from that experience. And we're here in a beautiful building that is the right size for us, that just oozes love and peace all by itself, you know. You know, we're in the right place, but it does cost $32,000 a year. Our events are at $8,000. So you notice the income was $4,200. Our expenses are $8,000. So we don't pay for all of our events, but we do pay for pretty much all of the expense for things like Juneteenth and Cinco de Mayo we pay for. Our fundraising, well, we made a profit. $8,300 of income, $1,800 of expense, and about $1,200 of that was actually from last year. And so we've done a good job, I think, with the fundraising team this year. I want to thank all the members of the fundraising team and all the different ways you guys show up. Music, we spend $25,000 a year to have the wonderful music that we have. It costs $8,000 for, you know, the copier is built, you know, buried in that expense, so I expect some of that to go away. And tithes, money that comes in that is free of, you know, it's not designated for a particular thing. That goes in 10% goes back. And so we do practice a tithing consciousness. And then we have $27,000 in other expenses. Non-recurring is $6,000, and so the total expenses is $227,000, leaving us with a net loss of $18K. So we're actually budgeted for $4,000 a month loss, which would be $48,000. So 18,000 versus 48,000, or you know, 48,000, much better, isn't it? Let's just say, thank you, Spirit, right? Yeah. So what I want to do is, unless there's any questions about this, I'm going to ask Deborah to come on up, and if you'll go to the next slide, Harris.
All you do. And thank you, IRC funding, for reducing our deficit substantially. Oh my God. Okay. Now, I'm assuming.
You can see which slide over there.
Okay. So, how do you move it forward?
Harris. Harris. It's hard for Harris.
Okay. Deep breath. So I don't want to, I'm going to try to go fast because I know we got to get out of here and go to the Super Bowl. But what I tried to do in this next graphic is just give you an idea visually of what we're trying to do to shift our prosperity trajectory into being balanced between income and expenses. And thank goodness for that ERC funding, because had we not gotten that $27,000, we really would have run a $4,000 a month deficit. And so basically, if we start at the top of that wheel, is what we want to do is balance our income with our expenses, live within our means. And we have three immediate major ways that we're thinking, no, we're doing it. I call it the three like legs of our, let's say, becoming solvent stool. Number one, we're reducing expenses monthly by about $1,000. Number two, we're increasing rentals monthly by about $1,000. And in order to do both of those things, Reverend Scott was talking about the reductions, the rentals is going to need some person power to help us do that. So what we're going to solicit is if people want to help with the rentals, rental ready, marketing, getting folk in here, that would really help. And we also, as I said, so that's going down this thing, engaging our community in prosperity consciousness also means helping us rent the building and also helping us do outreach, because ultimately we want to grow our membership so that we don't have this deficit. The final third stool leg is, if we look at the bottom, we also want to increase our investment income by at least $1,000 a month, which we can do. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So if we reduce by 1,000, increase by 2,000, that gets us down to a $1,000 deficit. And again, if we increase our investments, we can always borrow from those investments, which is exactly what we did last year. We did actually take $30,000 out of our investment accounts, but now we want to grow that a little bit so we don't have to worry about diminishing that too much. So I've done a couple of slides just to show you some, again, what we do have in terms of investments. Not only do we own this building, which is worth a lot, but we have almost $500,000 in investment accounts. I say almost. We're trying to work back up to that. We had it, we spent it, now we're going back. So Harris, could you go to the next slide? So this is basically our money, a graphic of our money that we have in CSL National. We invested $25,000 a few years ago. They matched it with $25,000. It's been up and down, but recently it went up. Okay, so this graphic, you don't have to look at the words, just, I'm sorry, this is SEI. I'm talking about the wrong thing. This is our SEI account. That too has gone up. So right now we have about $400,000 in the SEI investments, and that too has gone up. So between CSL some funds and the SEI investments, we have about $470,000.
Yeah, a couple of things. Notice that the bottom of the graph is not at zero, right? So it's not like we dipped that far. And then the other thing is these are the accounts we took the money out of, right? So that's where that drop down,
Yeah.
the big drop down. But you
Yeah.
can see we're going back up.
Yeah, so we're going back up. So could you do the next slide, Harris, with the CSL? It's SEI Investments Management Corporation. It's the, do you know what SEI stands for, Robert, Gloria? Right. It's local. It's a very nice. Percy Bolton is the chairperson, the whatever, our financial advisor. Okay. Yeah. We used to have it in Fidelity. We switched it over because we wanted a little more attention. Right. So that's why that is. Okay. So CSL again. That's where our other money is. We just put $7,600 into that account. It hasn't shown up yet. It's actually worth about $70,000, and that was from fundraising. And so one of the things we're also trying to do is not just reinvest money, but also grow it a little bit, because that's part of being prosperous, is saving for a rainy day.
Deborah, didn't get much help looking it up online. SEI stands for Simulated Environmental Financial Services. It's
Okay, I would have remembered that.
very digital company.
Okay, big concept. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time, but because the market is going up and it's looking a little better for us, we have recently changed our strategy. Harris, could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So our goal here is to go one more. Okay, our goal is to increase our SEI funds. So we're swapping out some funds to be into more aggressive categories. Originally, about 5/8 of the investments were in very high liquidity, sort of cash and not terribly aggressive funds. So now we're trying to shift it so that 3/4 of our funds are in moderate growth, 40% stocks and 60% bonds and other kinds of investment strategies, and about 100,000 is what we call liquidity. So that's what we borrow from. But even that recently has been making money because it's in money markets. And so we are making money, and that's our goal, is to grow this so that it increases. And to continue to invest in ourselves. Again, understanding that we do occasionally have to, dip into the well and cover expenses. So, finishing up that circle idea, not only do we ask everyone to participate and increase membership and continue our successful pledge drive, but we're also continuing to budget very closely. We are not doing this at random. We have a very clear budget that Gloria Roberts has successfully shepherded us through, which is helping us, again, get a balance in our economic well-being. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Gloria, and she'll help you through.
Is there any questions of Deborah before she goes? All right.
Okay.
I'm just so proud of you, Deborah. You're doing a great job.
Yes, couldn't agree more. I want to say thank you to the entire finance committee around that, because they have really spent time on the finances in particular.
I am going to take a minute, just a couple of minutes, to tell you about our budgeting process. And when we put up the budget, which will take a second, you're going to see a lot of numbers, but I don't want you to get frightened by those numbers. We just want you to see how closely we do manage our revenues and our expenses. So we all are, the finance committee, the board, we're very excited about the budget, our budget for this year and the next 5 years. And we wanted to share with you just how we approach getting to, preparing the budget. So
Just a little bit bigger, Harris, and
yeah, if you can, there are a lot of numbers in there, so I guess you need to make it smaller to get more of it in there. Anyway, so we had a couple of goals for the budget. We really wanted to line up our actual operating budget with our philosophy. We're not about operating in the red. We're about operating in the green. So we, recognizing that we have a $4,000 a month deficit, $4,000 a month deficit, yes, it's a month, deficit, we wanted a plan that was simple and solid and easy to follow. And so that's what we created with the help of the board, input from members, and through the finance committee. So this is how we're going to do it. I don't know if you can see, see how it looks? But basically what it says is that over the next 4 years, we're going to increase our revenues by $1,000 a month. for 4 years, and that should help cover the $4,000 a month deficit. During that time, we're going to maintain our expenses as evenly as possible. You know, at some point you have to say this is all the money we have and this is what we're going to spend. For us, that's about $18,000 to $19,000 a month. So while we're increasing revenues, we're going to try very, very hard to keep our expenses as well managed as possible, and we have many ideas, as were shared by Reverend Scott and by our treasurer, Deborah. We think we can do that because we've done some things already to help us to be able to handle what we anticipate coming up in the future. So while we do that, you'll see as we approach this plan, we decided that we're going to focus on one income category at a time each year because we're small in size now and growing, but we can't. I think what we've done in the past is we've tried to approach too many of our revenue categories at a time. So for example, in 2024, we're only going to focus on rentals. We're going to ask you, we're going to ask the committees, we're going to ask everyone to help us bring in rentals. And all we need is 1 or 2 extra rentals, regular monthly rentals, to help us get to an extra $1,000 a month. So what we're trying to do is to get our rentals up to $3,000 as quickly as possible, but this year. And we're pretty close already. Last year, we averaged about $2,300. So we anticipate that if we could get in just 2 or 3 more tenants at a couple $100 a month, that will help with our deficit. So that's what the goal is in 2024.
Can I say a few things about rentals?
Yeah, and then we have some questions.
Questions first.
Thank you. I just wanted to know what you meant by rentals. And you were, yeah.
So we have a number of categories for rentals here. So it's all the things that we do in order to use this building and our grounds. So the first one is the parking lot. We're full. We can't take any more people, so don't send me anybody for the parking lot. But we also have weddings, we have memorials, and memorials. This is a perfect place for a memorial. Perfect. We get people that go to Agape, for instance, because they don't want to go all the way to Agape, and Agape doesn't have their own building anymore, so they'd have to rent the space there, and it's very expensive over there. So they come here, and we've had a number of memorials here, and so that's one place. But then there's also the general rentals, and so general rentals are things like, you know, people coming in to do a wellness fair that we did last year, or Amma, the milk goddess from India, has been here to, yes, she was here last year, and in fact, I'm in negotiations for this year again. So that's $4,000, you know, all in one spot to get them in here for 2 days, right?
Yeah, we like that.
So, you know, those are wonderful rentals. But we have also other things. I'm in negotiations with CASA next door to rent our classroom 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, you know, and that will add up to some really big money if they do it the whole year long. So we have really a huge potential for rentals here, you know. And the kitchen is the fourth one. If you have not seen our kitchen, go take a look at our kitchen. Everybody who comes in to do catering or anything for an event here, they come in and they go, oh my God, this is great. I can do exactly what I need to do here, right? So we also, when I first came here, we had Hungry Tots, who was a nonprofit that came in 5 days a week for, I think it was, I forget exactly how much money it was. I think it was $1,800 a month that they were paying us to use our kitchen in the morning. That would be one, if we could get $1,800 a month in kitchen rentals, that would be half our deficit,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there's really, that's why we're focusing in 2024 on that one. on rentals because it has got a lot of bang possible in it. But what we need to do is we need to get the word out. The building sells itself when we get the people here, but we need to get the word out.
Yes, that's what we're asking for, all your help. And even if it's for a monthly meeting for an organization, anything that you can think of as a possible client for our building. Our building is our biggest asset, and we just want and need everyone to help us with that. So, yes.
How is it advertised is the question. So we have primarily been doing cheap advertisement. You know, we're doing social media type of advertisement. But to be honest, you know, just on the day-to-day thing here at Ahiah of, you know, keeping all of our own stuff and our own events and everything put into social media, creating graphics for it, doing all that stuff, Harris and I are at the end of our bandwidth. So if there are people who are interested in helping out with social media, that would be a great thing. So right now you might be doing what I lovingly call doom scrolling, but you know, turn that into prosperity creation instead, right?
Yes, and we need help with that. So if anyone has any ideas about how we can advertise the space, you know, the kitchen for meeting. We even had soap making people here before, right? So
it was deodorant. It was natural deodorant.
Okay. All right, so back to our plan, 2024 rentals. And once we hit the $3,000 a month income level for rentals, we'll be set in terms of rentals. You know, a little more, a little less, around 3,000 is all we're asking. So it's doable and it's easy. Once we hit that 3,000 mark, then we're hoping it will happen before the end of the year. But after we hit that, we're going to then focus on membership growth. And given our average monthly donation, all we need are 6 to 7 new members a year for 2 years. We're going to do that in 2025 and 2026. We won't need to focus so much on rentals. Now we will then focus on membership growth. Simple, easy, all of our committees, all of our membership can just focus on those 2 areas. With any ideas that you may have to help us with that, let us know. And we think it's doable because we've added so many people already, but it's got to be net. So if you lose some and you gain some, we're talking about 6 or 7 net, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to say that you know, we're at 70 members right now, so it's not a huge increase, right? It's 10% that we're looking at would make a big difference for us as far as, you know, bringing down the deficit.
And then after we hit that, because we know we will, in 2027, we're going to continue to focus on fundraising, which could be like, you know, we're trying to test out different events, but we want to create an event that we have every year, an annual event that we can advertise into the community that can also bring people into Ahiah. And I think that we're already on to some great events.
Let's see, we have Rosanna who has her hand raised online.
Okay.
Rosanna, you want to ask your question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I used to be involved with the Chamber of Commerce quite a bit, and I know that they get hit for office space, kitchens, rentals, meeting spaces quite often. So has anybody offered to, or has gone to the Chamber of Commerce of Pasadena to say that we have space available at Ahiah?
Yeah, we actually were chamber members for a couple of years. The problem is, you know, I live in Long Beach, and so it was not being cost efficient. I had to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go to their breakfast, and I just couldn't make their lunch. And so we need a volunteer that would want to do that. And it's not cheap either. It's you know, $1,000 or so a year, as I recall. So it's Mindy, I know you're a member. Can you give us the lowdown on that?
You do not need to be a member to be a resource for the chamber.
True. That is a very true statement. That's a great idea. So if we have somebody who, especially a member of the chamber here in Pasadena, I know Mindy's a member. You're
No longer.
Oh, no longer.
I'm going to the La Crescenta Valley and the Montrose Verdugo City Chamber.
Yeah, okay. So, but if we have a chamber member, that'd be great. But even if we just had somebody who could interface with the chamber, that would really be lovely.
Reverend Scott, we have one more question from Charmaine.
Is it in the chat?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
And what does it say?
Her question is, do the rentals need to be nonprofit?
Do the rentals need to be nonprofit is Charmaine's question. And the answer is no. We charge extra for commercial. Well, let's say it the other way. We charge less for non-commercial.
Any other questions? Okay, so then I was just starting to talk about once we get through 2024, 25, 26, we're into 2027, and that's when we're going to put all of our focus on the fundraising event. And maybe we'll have more than one. Maybe we'll do two. But we're thinking we'll only try to keep it to one or two because we're a smaller organization and that's about all we can handle. So as we follow this plan, by 2027 or 2028, we should be in the green in terms of operations and have more than $500,000 again, maybe $600,000 by then in our investments. So that's our simple plan. We think it's simple, it's easy, it's solid, and we're just asking for your help and your ideas about how we can improve that 5-year plan. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Gloria. So again, you know, if you're wondering what you can do, that is an area. Those two areas are definitely places where you can, as members, make a big difference. Bring us rentals. You know, RC one day called me up and said, you know, I've known this guy for years, and he suddenly, you know, he talked to me this morning and said, I need a kitchen. I'm a caterer. He's a caterer. I need a kitchen today. So she called me up. You know, do you have a kitchen? I said, yes, right? We made an easy, you know, few $100s off of that. So, you know, these are the opportunities. If you have birthday parties, that fellowship hall is perfect for a birthday party. We have a birthday party, by the way, in the works. We have a memorial in the works. We have a wedding in the works. We have a birthday party in the works, right? You know, I said to God, I said, show me the money, and here we go, right? Get ready for the wild ride. So, yes, Myrna.
Okay, so I was thinking that since it is costing money to advertise or to do the Chamber of Commerce, that rather than just do rentals, we could do rentals and membership at the same time. And the other part is I have been doing A Course in Miracles at the Santa Anita Church now for a few years. And this, towards the end of last year, I decided to sign up for the Duarte Chamber of Commerce. It cost me $78. And not as a business, but as a member. And so I am advertising A Course in Miracles in the Duarte Chamber of Commerce, the El Monte Chamber of Commerce, Monrovia Chamber of Commerce, where there are three. Oh, and Arcadia Chamber of Commerce. Now, we're driving here from Duarte, so I know it's possible. And I've seen our church has started to grow. We have 4 new members. In fact, through the Course in Miracles, we have people, there was a Sunday that I was at church before I moved to Ahiah, and about 6 of the members that come to the Course in Miracles were coming to the church that were not there before. And I've noticed that we've increased at least since I started going to the Chamber of Commerce, we've had at least 8 people, new people show up. So I know it's possible, and I'm willing to volunteer, by the way, to go to the Chamber of Commerce because I like the interaction, and I think it's like I'm getting to know people. There is a guy that did solar that, anyway, so there's a lot of people that come to the Chamber. The best way to advertise the kitchen, because as a real estate agent, I've had a lot of people chefs who want to they need kitchens. They need a big kitchen because they can't cook at home. So the Chamber of Commerce would probably be the best way to do it. And you're right, somebody has to go there and do it. But it is possible, and I would say combine that. Now, I have a friend that does weddings at the Santa Anita Church, and I don't know how she does it, but I know that they advertise, and part of the advertisement is on the Chamber of Commerce monthly advertisement. I decided to start last year advertising what I call Vision Reset for 2024. I went to all the boards, and I sent all of my flyers and everything else. I didn't get anybody for the class, to be honest, but I got a lot of phone calls. And for whatever reason, whether it was a day that was wrong or whatever, that people couldn't make it to the class, but at least I got at least four phone calls. So I know that it works.
And I think, also when we were there, it was around COVID, and they were having it, and they were doing it online.
Yeah. Yeah, we quit during COVID because there was just no benefit to us at all. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Myrna. So those are ideas, and we have it recorded on video. And so, not that we're holding you to it, Myrna. What I'm saying is, I didn't have to take notes because I'm going to go back and review the video. But those are all great ideas, and that's the kind of thing that we do need to look for, and the energy that we need to have in order to move all of these things forward. Okay, so my slides went away. Somebody has my slides? Do you have the paper copy? Oh, no worries. Okay. All right, so can we go to the slide? Next slide, Harris. Next one after that. Adopt a project. I'd like to ask Barbara Brunner to come on up.
You guys must know I intend to be very brief. So, the Adopt a Project came about because some of us have seen things around our facility that need attention. And so we made a list of those things. You'll see that up there. And what Ahiah is and aspires to be a warm, welcoming, nurturing place. And as Reverend Scott mentioned, as Gloria mentioned, a lot of things, the areas we've identified that need attention, our rental capabilities would benefit from it as well. So I'm going to let you read the list of things that we've identified where we need help. And what I'm asking you, members and people who are interested, is if you have resources, references, connections with people who can do things, painting, landscaping, please let me know. You're welcome to serve on a committee. What we've identified among the lists of things we have to do, we're going to focus, like Deborah said, we're going to focus on one area at a time. And our first area of focus is improving the courtyard, making it welcoming and warm. And you may have noticed already when you walk in and you see, oh, wow, those succulents are doing really well. Oh, that's nice the way they put that potted plant there. We have Kate Finnegan to thank for that because she's behind the scenes doing a lot of work, and we're so appreciative of that. So if you have some resources, if you have an opinion, and I know some of you do, about the color scheme in the courtyard, then you need to be on this committee so that your voice can be heard, so that we can take advantage of your input and decide what we're going to do or what to do to increase the warm, welcoming, nurturing facility that Ahiah is. One thing I want to mention, there is a final, that may not have made it on the slide, but it's interesting because it's a non-capital improvement, and it's one that's close to my heart. In terms of youth activities, we do a lot towards sponsoring our youth attendance at camp, and I think that's great and important and essential. But I also think there are things we can do towards activities that youth can do locally, whether it's attending a sporting event or a play or I don't know, even bowling. We don't want to neglect those people who aren't quite old enough to go away to camp. So I have youth activities on our Adopt a Project list, as well as these various areas of capital improvement. So I encourage you to take one if you want to look and see what area resonates with you. But if you don't want to do paper, it's on our website, so go there for more information. There's an article in the newsletter that explains the Adopt a Project, our efforts, our premise, and what we're accomplishing to do. So I'll stop there, and I'll be available afterward, though, if you have questions directly for me. And also, I welcome signups. And if you're the kind of person who has more money than you do time, okay, we'll take a check, too.
I love that. So as Barbara said, we're focusing on the courtyard now, right now, right? We are planning it right now as we are speaking. Kate's here in the audience today, and we've had Deborah and some other people. We ended up chatting with one of Kate's people to talk about getting our drains unclogged. You notice that when it rains, our courtyard overflows, right? So, we're doing that work to get that all started. So we've got the base of activity, starting to be planned. But the next level, the stuff that isn't about, maintaining the building, it's about what's our tastes going to be like? What's our desire? What vision do we have for that courtyard, right? That takes a community to be involved in. And so that's what we're asking. Do we have a landscaper? Well, Eloy, who we talked to, is a landscaper. So where we're at right now is not hiring the person to do it, but we're trying to get a design that we like, yeah. I don't think we have hardscaping, to be done in the courtyard personally. I do think that we have a lot of possibility as far as paint choices and colors and whether we want a fountain or what kind of tables we would like, what kind of chairs do we want. All those are things that I don't think we really need a landscaper to tell us about, but we do need input. Gloria. Yeah. Yeah, Gloria said that even before we go hire a landscaper, we need to have a basic idea of what feel are we looking for so that they can figure out what. Yes, Angela. But they can't hear you at home.
I immediately thought of benches out there. And portable ones, and a meditation garden so we could move the benches in case we needed a wedding area, and we'd have a fountain that's also semi-portable, like a small meditation garden out there. Mm-hmm. And if we have the benches out there, those would be movable too, because the space was being hired for a wedding. It would be perfect for a wedding out there. So.
Living in Pasadena, it's hot in the summer, but the rest of the year, there's lots of potential for being out there.
So, with all the questions, this is what I've spent this morning organizing this book. So I'm volunteering. I don't know anything about landscaping, but I know some people. Yeah. So, and we also have another choice besides Eloy, who is he's at my community garden, and he'd be happy to come here. He's done landscaping at Huntington Gardens. So, and also too, if anybody knows anyone, because I'll be anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I wanted to say. I got the book, and I can, sorry. Afterwards, I have some designs for the bulletin board. So it didn't get to print, so it'd be great to be able to show it to people, and you give me your input, and we'll put it up for print this week. Anyway, thanks.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you. All right, so let's go to the next slide, Harris. And I'd like to go ahead and ask Patricia to come on up. You can.
Two things. Once the team is formed for the garden or landscaping or whatever you're doing, I would really suggest that you take time and do visioning, because that will bring not only your idea but God's idea into the mix. And you'll be surprised how successful it will become. So I have like 1 minute to talk about a member benefit. If you're a member, you received a letter that gave you a free session with a practitioner. I have received 2 calls, and I've taken advantage of mine because the practitioners got the card too. My session was amazing. The healings that take place when you are with the practitioner. So I want to encourage our members to make that telephone call and set up an appointment, because it's free. And if you want to put it to money, it's anywhere from $50 to $175 a session, depending on your practitioner. So you're saving money, you're getting an experience, you're getting free therapy. What more can you ask for?
Thank you. So, you know, this is a benefit of being a member. You know, some people ask me, well, what's the difference between a member and not a member? Well, you know, for the most part, there's no difference, right? We love people who are here that are not members. We love people here who are members. Members get to vote at our annual meeting or any type of meeting like that where a vote is required. It's only the members that get to vote. But this is one of the benefits of being a member, getting a free practitioner session. And, you know, I can't say enough about my own personal history of coming to Centers for Spiritual Living and engaging with a practitioner right away. And that practitioner was my mentor for many years. And yeah, you know, I wouldn't be a minister today without her.
The deadline is March 31st.
Oh, the deadline is March 31st on the things that were sent out, right? So it isn't forever, you know. So you do have another month and a half to get it in the works. And Deborah.
Can I just make another pitch here? Nominating committee.
Yes.
I was looking for board applicants, not B-O-R-E-D, but B-O-A-R-D, okay? The deadline is March 10th. So if you want to speak to somebody, speak to me. There's an application on the website, but we really need some wonderful folk here to volunteer to be on the board.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, my own experience, you know, just going back to my own experience at Namaste so many years ago, was they were 1 year old when I got there. And they were brand new, and board members didn't tend to stick around, you know, because it was a new organization. They didn't have any idea what they were getting into. I was one of the first members that stayed for 3 full years for the 3-year term. And I did because I loved that community and because I grew a lot through that experience, right? There's a lot that we get to do as board members. And, you know, there's a lot that the board members do that support this community in such a loving way. right? So the only real requirement, that we have a requirement that you be a member for a year, and we have a requirement that you know enough about the teaching, the philosophy, that you know what you're getting into, right? That you understand that. So we ask that you have like a class or two to be on the board. But it's my discretion, whether or not you really understand the philosophy. So if you don't have the classes here at Ahiah, but you've taken things somewhere else, that's okay. I'm just going to ask you what the creative process is, right? Things like that. And, anybody who's been around this philosophy for any length of time knows what the creative process is, right? So, anyway, I would love to chat with you. So now we've had a lot of questions and answers already, but is there any Q&A? Can you go to the last slide, Harris? Oh, by the way, on that slide, if you are not a member, I've been kind of combing the ranks of the people who aren't members that we would love for you to be a member. But if I haven't seen you, feel free to come to me. And, it's an easy process. You fill out a form at ahiah.com/membership. Even easy to remember, right? And that'll tell me that you're really interested, and I'll call you up and we'll talk about it. Okay. So Q&A. Questions about this or any other topic for you? Annette.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. What I would like to ask of you, if you have an idea for a fundraiser or an idea for an event, please call me. Let's talk it over, and then we will not be duplicating work. Okay? Thank you so much.
Perfect. Yes. I say yes. What else is there? What other questions? I know people have Super Bowl on the mind, but we have any questions online?
Yes. Are we still going to have the invite a friend to church day?
Yes, friends and family is what we call it, and I would actually like to do that twice a year. So I need to talk to the board a little bit about that. Any other questions? Patricia.
In April, we will be starting congregational visioning.
Yes.
You'll get more information after bingo.
Yeah. We're a little bit stretched at the moment because bingo's on Saturday. Do you remember me saying that? Bingo on Saturday? Yes. 6 days from now? Yeah. So after that, we'll be working on some other projects that have been kind of delayed until we get past that hump. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there somebody currently heading up the rental? Is that you?
It's Nancy Johnson is the current rental co-chair with me. Now, you might have heard Nancy's name a lot. So, she's there because she has expertise. She used to, be a primary person at the convention center, and so she's done a lot of rentals. But to be honest, I would love to inject and infuse more energy into that team. Yeah. Because she gets carried away with her stuff, Miss Nancy. I'm looking at your picture right there. All right. You can, Harris, you can drop the slides. Yes, Myrna.
I'm wondering if I can get a list of the prices for the rentals that I might be able to put them on the MLS.
We have a flyer. We have a trifold flyer that has all the information you would ever want for general rentals. We have another one for memorials. And we have our website, ahiah.com/rentals. All three of those And on the website, that has both the flyers too, so you can print them out at your home if you're not here right now. So it's got all the prices, and it's got discounted prices for longer time. It's not just by the hour. We have packages. We have a wedding package. We have a memorial package. Things like that. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Harris. Okay, so Harris's, it wasn't a question, it was a statement for you guys. If there's any members who did not receive their letter, because I know that we got some letters back because the addresses were old, right? So if you didn't receive your letter, give us a yell, and we'll figure out how to connect you and your card that has your practitioner and everything on it together so that you're one, right? Thank you, Harris. All right. Well, it sounds like this is a great time. Since I prayed us in, would you like to pray us out? Oh, you prayed us in. I started to pray us in, and then you were there. Yeah, all right. Then I will pray us out. Because I would love to, right? I love to pray. One of the reasons I love to pray is because when I'm praying for anybody, whether it's for myself or anybody else, I'm actually praying for me. I'm praying for me, this individualized expression of the divine. And since we're all one, I'm praying for you also, right? So just join me in knowing, and knowing that we know this life, this power, this presence, this Spirit has been fully present right here as it always is. I know that we don't always recognize it, but I know today we have spent special effort in recognizing the capital T truth that Spirit is as the truth of each of us, as the truth of this community, and the truth of this world and beyond. That the life that is Spirit, as love, as peace, as joy, as abundance and prosperity, is alive and well and having its way with us. And so as we have come together with this idea that we are pushing Ahiah forward, always, always forward, just like Spirit is always raising us up, that as we are pushing ourselves forward, Spirit is back behind us also. And so what that does is it spirals us in this grand scheme of life, moving us always, always, always forward a little bit more. A little bit more. And so what I know is that we have been blessed today by being here at Ahiah. We've been blessed by being at home, watching on video. We are blessed with a Super Bowl coming up in just a little bit. So with all these blessings abounding, I just say thank you, Spirit. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. So it's lovely being with you guys today here. And it's lovely having all of you who are online also. Go have some fun, and we'll see you at the next Ahiah event, whatever that might be. I love you guys. Thank you. Bingo!